Reclaiming your power through your connection to your higher self. If somebody is not showing up for us, right, we can feel abandoned, we could feel triggered, we could feel heartbroken, whatever the case may be. This is why it's so important to connect back to yourself, because when you remember who you are, right, at the higher level, right, that God source force that lives within all of us, there becomes a sense of empowerment, right, that you embody, and you can do this through meditation on a daily basis. Because there are only two options that can happen. If somebody is going through something, whether it's work related, whether it's through their own personal issues, if you're always trying to be their cheerleader or their support system, it can feel draining after a while. And it's almost like your light and your energy is being siphoned from you. And so if you can make that connection, right, to your higher self, to that higher power on a daily basis, replenishing yourself, recharging your batteries, and remembering who you are, there's a lot of energetic fulfillment that happens within your body and your vessel, your mind, your consciousness, and everything else around you. Which brings me to my next point, which is healthy detachment and inner stability. And so when you could healthily detach from the other people, the other person, and it's not like it's a forever type of thing, but it's more so of seeing them as a character, right, in your story. And when we can release responsibility from them, especially if they're not our children. If they're our children, of course, we're going to be there to guide them. But if it's a spouse, it's a partner, it's a work colleague, whoever, a friend, a family, when we can release responsibility of you're supposed to help them, yeah, to a certain extent, but also there becomes an expiration date to where they have to learn and they can help themselves. And so when we release that, it's almost like we're letting go of that parent-child dynamic, especially if we're in a relationship, right? We don't want to necessarily be the parent, constantly overseen, putting so much energy, wondering, worrying, because it doesn't help, right? And we only have two options again, right? Either they can come up to meet our energy, or we're gonna have to go down to meet their energy. But if we can focus back on self, right? Healthily detach, not forever, but focus back on ourselves, then it's almost like we can replenish ourselves and come from a more stable, right, place emotionally. And we're gonna need to be as stable as we can be, especially with all the, let's say, traumas, triggers, and wounds being thrown at us, especially through the media that is just being pounded. And so more than ever, we have to come back to that emotional stability. Reconnection is the medicine. So this is where we want to be living from alignment. When we meditate, right, we come back to ourselves and we remember that we are much more than this physical body. I'm much more, and you're much more than your name, your job, what you do, the accomplishments and everything that you've done in this life, which is a beautiful thing, right? We're here to experience earth, but at the same time, we also have to cultivate, right, that spiritual side of us, right? Our feelings, our emotions, the parts of us that we can't tangibly grasp. When we start living from a place and a space of living in alignment, then things become easier. And alignment isn't a, let's say, a job title, right? Alignment isn't, okay, I'm making this amount of money or I've reached this, right, this goal in my physical life. Alignment comes from something internal, right? Rather than seeking happiness, it's almost like happiness is within us because we're grateful for what we have, we're grateful for this journey. And when we can just tune out, right, come back to meditation, come back to ourselves, then that alignment is natural. That alignment is something that you can start feeling on a daily basis and stronger. Because we need it more than ever right now in this time space reality, right, of so many traumas, triggers, distractions being thrown at us to try to wipe us off the path. And so coming back to alignment, coming back to yourself, we need to become our own anchors, right, in this world of chaos. We need to be that calm. When you remember that you're so much more than this physical body, okay? Because we do live in 15 different dimensions. And just to put it simply, yes, we have a body, we have a soul, we have an oversoul, an avatar, a rishi, and an Eka level of identity. Those may sound like words to you, but at the same time, when you open up your consciousness, right, to meditating, you're plugging into these higher parts of yourselves. You don't need to know the name exactly. You don't need to know which dimensional aspect of yourself you're plugging into, but you're going to feel that. And just knowing that we're so much more than what we're going through at this moment, it's almost like you can have this aerial view like a bird, and you're like, okay, you know what, there's a divine plan. It's chaos right now. It's a lot of heaviness, let's say, a lot of challenges that I'm going through, but I'm going to continue, and I'm going to make that choice to connect to my higher selves, to tune out, right, to unplug, because when I do that, I build that connection, and it's stronger, right, to myself, to my own higher power, to my God, source, force, universe, to that connection. And so if you find yourself on this healing journey, I invite you to share your story with me. I'm doing research at the moment, and it's been a very fun process, a very long process, but fun. Share your challenges, your goals, your stories with me. My information is down below for us to link up, and I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day.